Hello YouTubers, today we're going to talk about oil lamps. Now, oil lamps are something that you've probably seen a lot of YouTubers, in the bushcraft community using. Probably don't know much about them, and sometimes YouTubers have a bad habit of not explaining them too much. Different kinds of oil lamps. The most common you'll see is these kind, which is a design that's pretty common with most manufacturers. So when somebody thinks of an oil lamp, they think of this style, for camping and so forth. This is actually a railway style lantern, and it used to be used by the railroad engineers and so forth, to do their thing. Now they come in different sizes. You have your like this one right here. This is an example of a real Dietz oil lantern, and it's called the Little Wizard, and it's pretty much the most common one you'll come across, and probably the smallest one you'll come across easily. You can get these online, Amazon, various places. And then you have some smaller ones that sometimes you come across in weird places, like this one, for instance, was bought in Walmart, and it's smaller than the Little Wizard, but it's not the smallest one. The smallest one I have found is this one right here, and it's made by a company called V&O. They're out of China, and they make a really nice little small one. It's a little flimsy of sorts, but works good, and for what they cost, they're pretty usable. You'll notice that all of them have the little wire thing that holds the globe, and have a little latch here. Now if you lift this latch up, it locks right there. It allows you access to the wick area, and that's where you would light it, by holding, say, a lighter underneath up to that. And then you have a thing where you can adjust the height of the wick, which is your knob right here. And then you have your fill spout, which is where you put your oil. And there's different kinds of oil you can use in there. You can use kerosene, or you can use lamp oil, which is paraffin. Paraffin and kerosene are almost the same thing. It's just the paraffin is a little more refined when you see it, and it smokes less, which is probably something you want to take in consideration. But anyway, once you light it, you would just pop that down, let that down just the wick so it's just lit. Now I'm going to show you lighting it with this one, for example. Okay, bring that up, down like that, and you would get the wick started. Get it? And once you got that lit, you would just pop that up there and then lower that down. And now it's covered by the globe. Now one thing to bear in mind is you have air hole intake holes here and holes here. And then these also have a tube in them that helps circulate air, so that this thing always gets oxygen but doesn't get a direct wind blowing on it that would blow it out. And you probably heard the term hurricane lantern. That's part of that style of design, was to keep the thing burning in high winds and so forth, so you wouldn't have wouldn't go out. Or another thing is, so if this fell, it wouldn't easily catch place on fire. But anyway, you can adjust the burner just by twisting the knob, up and down. You want the wick to be just enough, but not too much, because the more wick you have, you burn the wick down too fast and you'll burn through fuel quicker, because you're giving more surface area to burn. So you just adjust it to the bare minimum that you need to see what you're doing, and and let it done. Now when it comes time to put it out, lift this up, blow it out. And that's all there is to it, as far as lighting them. On lanterns, you can get different kinds of globes. And you can get them clear, or you can get them frosted. The frosted ones are nice once you're inside, because it diffuses the light a little bit better. Allows it to fill the room more. Whereas this is a brighter light, but it doesn't have that. It doesn't glow. It just kind of raw light, like raw flame, more like a candle. You're going to get flicker and whatnot. You notice some of these have brass bits for the thing. Some of them are coated. I wouldn't pay that too much mind. That's more of a cosmetic thing. Get what you feel is best when choosing these. There's really not much maintenance that needs to be done on these, other than just make sure all your parts are working and moving. Nothing's banged up or broken, and that they don't leak. If you get a crack in the glass, you can get replacement globes from whoever you bought it from. Sometimes if you spent very little money on it, you just junk it in the trash and buy another one, or hang on to it for spare parts. But these really can't be taken apart per se, because they're seam welded and then powder coated in the factory. You can replace some of the wire bits, and you can replace the center burner in some of them. Like the Dietz, I can get a replacement burner. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Dietz is your well-known brand. Like I said, you also have V&O. That's a common one. This one was bought at Walmart. It was made by the same company that made the lamp oil I bought. They had it sitting next to the lamp oil when I went in there to buy some. And I said, it was only like $7, so I picked one up. Stan Sports makes one that you'll sometimes see in Walmart. It's about this size or closer to this size. I heard they work okay. I haven't tried one myself personally. I've seen them, and I might pick one up at a later date to try it. But I don't expect much of a difference. The main thing is just keep these things clean, so they don't rust. Try not to leave them outside, too long out in the rain and so forth, unless you have to. And keep the globes clean. It should last for a long time. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I got LED lights and all that stuff. Well, kerosene is pretty easy to come by. A lot of old farmhouses has it. You can buy kerosene at a lot of gas stations around the world real cheap. Whereas, electronic stuff can fail. The batteries in LEDs, lights can fail, break or get dropped. These are a little more utilitarian and old school, so should you lose the ability to have electricity, these are going to keep working. Also, a thing to consider is if you're out in the woods, say you got a cabin or something, you're not going to have access to power and whatnot. So these are more useful. And, it's kind of a romantic type thing. Some people carry them around because it just makes them think of the old days. and how people used to do things. You know, when I was a kid, people still use these occasionally, you know, in their house. Um, it's not very you know, or they'd have them out in the barn. Um, but, you know, most people don't use them anymore, so it's kind of more of a nostalgia thing for a lot of people. But anyway, if you have any questions, you know, leave your question in the comment section. We'll try to get to you and answer them. Let me see if I can remember how to do that. I don't think these do that.
They should.
I mean,
there you go.
yeah, but it's a little tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how you would clean it. You lift up on this and do that. Then when you're done, you flip it back up. Which it's kind of hard to do sometimes. You have to let go of this. There you go. Let me try that again. You got to do it when they're down.
Yeah. Pull up and it tilts over.
Yeah.
And you just pull.
You can do it both directions too.
My grandparents would use these in the well houses to keep them from freezing during the winter. I spent quite a few times filling them up and lighting them for that purpose.
Well, a lot of farmers I would run to would keep them out in the barn. And use them, you know, out in the horse barn. Because I don't know, something about horses and livestock when it's stormy, if you light a light, it calms them.
And there's plenty of third world countries where they're still used by the millions.
Yeah.
Over in Africa and places like that, where they don't have electricity.
Mm.
In fact, I might put a link to a more thorough video on how these things work.
Yeah.
Someone recently did a very thorough video on how they work.
Yeah.
In fact, I've linked it into our Facebook group and Discord. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more, click subscribe. You can also click on the bell icon to receive notifications when we upload new videos. If you have questions or suggestions for new videos, please leave a comment down below. You can also consider supporting us on Patreon, or you can join us on our Discord server. The links will be in the description below.